Time to talk about a ton of update news because we just got some information and it's just a good time of the week to go over all of the news that we found out so far this week. And there's some very interesting things. Obviously we've got like a new weapon. We're gonna have to go through the details and stuff that we know about that and like how it most likely works. Talk about some things like a possible castle hidden in the Rift's design and also a skin bundle that's coming out soon that I need to give you guys a reminder on, as well as just a ton of other stuff. But on top of that, guys, real quick, thank you so much for 1 million subscribers. You guys are seriously awesome, and don't worry, I'm hoping to make a special video where I talk more about that. That'll be coming up soon, and I also got some fun plans that you need to stay tuned for. There's some awesome things coming up. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that like button down below. It always helps me out a ton, and I seriously do appreciate it. And on top of that, be sure to comment, which skin do you like better, Dire or Calamity? I posted a video yesterday of tips for getting XP towards those, but I'm curious to see which skin you guys prefer. So leave that comment down below, but without further ado here, let's jump on into it with the first thing I want to talk about, and that is simply the likely date for this next update. Right now, I don't know the exact date, but Epic Games always does the updates fairly consistently on like the same days of the week, so it's fairly easy to predict. So it's either one of two possible dates most likely. The first of which could be Tuesday, November 13th, and then the second could be Wednesday, November 14th. It also could be Thursday if they run into any problems with the update and they have to push it back. That's happened before, but as always, guys, I'll update you on my Twitter if you want to follow me at the Llamaser. I generally post updates about that if stuff happens. But yeah, I'm sort of expecting this one to be on a Wednesday because last week's update was on a Tuesday, and I don't know for sure, but I sort of feel like they switch back and forth, and if this one is on Wednesday, it's possible it could be like a bigger update. And what I mean by a bigger update is like instead of going from like 6.21 to 6.22 like it did for last week's update, and that one was fairly small, we still got a new item, but it wasn't a huge update. I'm wondering if it's about time that we go from 6.2 to 6.3, which is a bigger update. Again, I've said that a few times, but that would mean we'd get a lot more stuff in it. So we'll have to wait and see, but yeah, I'm expecting Wednesday, and then the time for that is most likely 4 a.m. Eastern time, judging by the previous times that they've released updates. Now, speaking of that, guys, let's talk about some possible things for the new updates coming out soon, and this first one may or may not be in the next update. I'm not 100% sure. It's probably going to be later, but it's still a very interesting change, a very helpful change that I think you guys should be aware of. So this little tidbit of news was posted on the Fortnite Reddit by Michael Nolan, who works at Epic Games as a programmer, and basically it was confirmation that we will be getting something soon, like some form of indicator for your weekly challenges that will help you keep track of which weeks you've completed this secret challenge for. And obviously what I mean by that is like the stars and the banners. And this, guys, is seriously an awesome change. It may be a small one, but it's a very nice one to have, just so you know exactly which ones you have to go after, and that way it'll save you a lot of confusion trying to remember like which ones you've gotten so far and which ones you have to do. But again, he said there were no promises as to when that might make it into a future build, but it is on their list, so hopefully it comes sooner than later. After that then, though, there's a rumor going around that I wanted to talk about and sort of, see for myself if it's true or not, because it is a pretty interesting rumor overall, and it has to do with castles, which is another thing that we haven't talked about in a while. There were some things like way back when, during last season, of like a castle possibly coming to the map, and I guess that sort of happened, but we'll talk about that more after this first piece. But there's been some rumors that you can see a castle within the rifts, and I do want to give credit to user Superstar Beta on Reddit for pointing out that there's at least something interesting in the rifts like reflection. Now basically that's if you look at a rift like this, it does kind of look like a castle, and you can see this on pretty much every rift in the game where it sort of looks like this if you happen to look at this piece at the right angle. That's probably because they do use some sort of like picture for the reflection in the rift a little bit, and then you can also see through it. And yeah, it does kind of look like a castle, and this is where that rumor came from, but I'm not 100% sure if it is a castle. It really could be, since again, we've got some other things to talk about coming up, but it could also just be trees on a hill. It's hard to say, but it is fun to look at. But like if you take a closer look at it here, you can more clearly see that it seems like a hill with some of those tall like pine trees on top of them. So I'm not exactly sure that it's a castle. I think it could maybe be some trees, but still, there's some other things that point towards castles that we've talked about before, so who knows, maybe it is possible. However, there is still some interesting things, like if you take a look at this piece right here, there seems to be something that's not really a tree, I don't think. Kind of reminds me of the thing at Lonely Lodge, the big tower, and then there's this other tree right here that seems way taller than any tree on the map, so there are still some interesting things there. And there is also the rumor from last season where there was a castle in one of the promotional images, which also would have went hand in hand with the spray of a castle, because as you guys know, Epic Games likes to tease things within the sprays, and we haven't gotten something like this castle yet. I guess we did get like the vampire castle near Haunted, but you gotta admit that's fairly different, so maybe we will be seeing a castle or something something soon, but still we're gonna need some more official news on that. But after that then there's something to do with skins that I want to talk about, or more so remind you guys, because it's happening pretty soon, I believe. In fact, I believe it could actually be happening tomorrow or releasing tomorrow. So the thing that I'm talking about here is the deep freeze bundle. We've went over it a few different times, so I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about here. But as a quick reminder, and in case you haven't seen those videos yet, the deep freeze bundle comes with a new outfit, which is like a new version of the Raptor. He's also got a pickaxe, a back bling, and a glider, which is like a new version of the standard glider with like skis on the side of it. On top of that, I also believe you get 1,000 V-Bucks, but overall that is the deep freeze bundle. Now so far what we know about this bundle is that it's supposedly releasing on November 13th, at least according to Amazon. That's right, that was the first place we saw it like show up, and I believe it was announced, but it does say that it's coming out November 13th, which is tomorrow. Now that also could mean that the update could be tomorrow, that's why it's November 13th, but from what I can gather, these are actually like, you know, things you could buy in stores, because if you also look online, there's ones at like Target and Walmart. Again, they don't actually like ship out until the 13th. However, there also have been rumors that this could release just in the game store. I'm really not sure about that. I don't know why they would do that. After making a bundle, you can like buy at a store and stuff like that. So, you know, it is a possibility, but I'm not really sure about it quite yet. I guess we'll probably find out tomorrow most likely, or at least like in a few days. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys a reminder because that is happening very, very soon and is just around the corner. For this next one here though, I wanted to jump into game to show it to you because it's actually one that has already happened, but it's just super interesting that it's happening between updates. Like something is going down over here. And oh my goodness, that llama is stuck in the tree. And his friend is trying to help him down. I mean, look at him up there. He's like a cat stuck in a tree. Don't worry, man. I'll save him. Don't you worry. Call in the fire department for this. Chop down that tree. There we go. You guys are reunited. But yeah, after that saving the llama right there, I wanted to talk about what's happening over here. That's right, guys. You can see down here that the food trucks have actually moved from Greasy Grove. If you remember my previous update changes video, they were down at Greasy Grove. There was also the whole thing about Greasy Grove getting shut down by Pizza Pit, and then they had their food trucks all out, and now they're like in a battle of the food trucks, which is pretty funny. But now they're moving towards the soccer field, so they're trying to get some new business apparently. And I just love the front of this car especially, and also the little like cardboard no pizza sign on the front. But yeah, it is very interesting that these are continuing to move around the map. So I'm wondering, like, what is the end game here? What is Epic Games trying to show us with these trucks? Is this going to be, like, some big part of the story? Is it just a little side story for fun? Are we going to maybe get, like, more challenges for these skins? I don't know for sure yet, but it is something to keep in mind that we are going to have to watch and see what is going on between these two, like, fast food places. And actually, guys, as a quick update, this just happened recently, but the Fortnite official Twitter account just tweeted out something that's pretty interesting and has to do with this a little bit. So basically what they did was a poll, and they said, when it's dinner time, who do you turn to? And there were emojis for a burger and a tomato, and then the poll was for either Beef Boss or Tomato Head. So that by itself, guys, just adds more, you know, like, mystery to what is happening between Der Burger and the Pizza Pit. Is there going to be like this big showdown? Is there going to be like a special event? I don't know for sure yet, but something interesting is happening here. So I'm curious to see where exactly they go for this, but if you guys have ideas, be sure to leave them down below in the comments. Let's try and figure out what is happening between these two. But after that then, guys, we have one of the biggest things to talk about in this new update, and that is the mounted turret. That is right, guys. We have not had anything like this before, and it is very, very interesting. So let's go ahead and jump into all of the nitty-gritty details and try and dissect and figure out exactly how this is going to work, like how you use it, like how it actually functions in game, how you even place it on the map, theories about all of that stuff. So yes, first of all, the mounted turret itself definitely looks very intimidating. You can see from the picture that it apparently only can have one player on it at a time. I mean, there's only one seat right there, so that's something to keep in mind, but it also only has 2 barrels, which is interesting because it probably means that it fires like one barrel, then the other, then back to the first one, and sort of like alternates between the two, which to me means that it's probably going to have a slower fire rate. At least like when you see this type of thing in video games, it's usually like a 1, 2, 1, 2, something like that. And again, it could be a lot faster than that, could be a lot slower. We don't know for sure yet, but that's probably going to be how it works. But then on top of that, I want to jump into the little description that we were given in the news page for it, and that simply says, place the mounted turret and hop in to apply some suppressive fire. Careful not to overheat. Now at first that may seem pretty simple and straightforward, but there are some very interesting tidbits that we can gather from that little description. Now the first of which is that it says place the mounted turrets. That in itself seems very interesting because it seems like this could possibly be something that is stored in your trap inventory. inventory. That is right, guys. We haven't had a new like trap or whatever you want to call those, the things that are like chillers, you know, spike traps, launch pads, things like that. I feel like since it says place, this wouldn't be something that you carry in your main inventory. It's still possible that it could be in, you know, maybe it's in the form of like a porta grenade and you throw it and then it spawns on the ground, but that doesn't really make sense to me. There's also the fact that the base of the turret is very flat, which could definitely mean that it has to be placed on like a flat floor, something like that, which again would lend towards the idea of it being an item that is placed as a trap. So that is what I'm leaning towards there, but the other interesting part about this description is that it says careful to not overheat, which is pretty obvious, but it is something to keep in mind that you can't just continuously hold fire on this like with a minigun. You actually have to be careful of it, you know, overheating, where there's going to be a period where it has to cool down and you're not able to fire it. So yeah, on top of that, there's also the question of what rarity it'll be. I don't really know for sure, but I would think it would probably be like epic or legendary, maybe. Again, I don't know, and the color of the picture is more of an orange. It's not like any specific rarity that we've had before, so it is hard to say there, but either way, this is going to be a very interesting item. After that then, guys, we have some very interesting information that comes from one of my favorite employees that works at Epic Games, Mr. Popo TFS, and a post he made on Reddit. So this actually has to do with a bug in the game, but also has a little bit of something else that's pretty interesting. So yeah, this information actually comes from a Reddit post. Somebody by the name of the username problem made a post about that they should fix that little issue that's been going around where somebody glides in like an opponent. There's like this slight delay in the animation where it still looks like they're gliding even though they're on the ground. But Mr. Popo TFS did confirm that they have a bug fix planned for this exact bug, which is definitely an awesome thing to hear. It is, you know, a pretty weird bug and can get you eliminated in certain special situations. So it's always great to see bugs like that getting fixed. But there was also something interesting that he put in here. He said that it was planned to be fixed in the V6.3 update. So maybe that does mean that it's this week's patch, which is the 6.3 patch, which again means that it's a bigger update, which will hopefully mean a ton of stuff is packed into it that we can explore and find like the secrets of it. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, but I am excited for this update. I'm hoping for a lot of fun stuff to check out. But anyways, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to hit that like